for 10 minutes of morning calm. And today we're looking at one that I find very interesting, which is the human proclivity to live our lives through other people's eyes. I know as a pastor, that's one in particular that's really challenging for me. I know it feels very, very, very easy a lot of the time to think through, well, I wonder how this is being heard, or I wonder how this person saw it, or I wonder how this person heard it. And then to go down that rabbit hole where literally just spins and spins and spins and spins and spins. It is very hard to live life in a connected way when we are constantly trying to play our lives through other people's eyes, thinking that somehow that's where we'll find validation. I think by a lot of us struggle with that, and I know for me personally, it can be very exhausting. And there's really nothing. I mean, to be frank, in terms of preaching, there's nothing when I'm preaching or delivering a message that will trip me up faster than for me to think, how does this person hear it? And as soon as I do that, and I put a face to it, I say, I wonder how so and so hears this. As soon as I do that, I'm tripped up, because then all of a sudden the sermon is all about that, and it's about me being liked, frankly, and that just gets the thing off track in a hot second. And it's much better when we're just not in that place, when we're just able to be in the flow and able to freely do things. Swedenborg talks about this in a really interesting line, and it's one I think that points a lot to what we need to be aware of, in our own spiritual journey, as we draw closer to God. Uh, when we wish better for ourselves and for other people, self-love takes control. Self-love shares nothing of its own and others except its own self-conception. And he goes on to say it sort of feels like hell. It's interesting, when all our ego does is want to share with other people, share in quotes, its perception of itself. That's it. Just this is my ego. This is what my ego says I am. Let me share that with you. And folks, I think you can imagine, like, that ain't a lot of fun. That's not a lot of fun to be around those people. For those kind of folks, as is famously said, a quote I love, there's no silence in their words. They're just out to sort of create a fan club and not a friendship circle. And fan clubs versus friendship circles, like, I mean, I guess it's all right to belong to a fan club, but I think most of us would much prefer to belong to a friendship circle. And so that ego part, we have to get really clear about it. And Thomas Merton, who we quoted yesterday on some social media, and he has this beautiful reminisce about what this is like when that shadow self kind of takes over. He talks a lot about the shadow self, which I like. I think ego self, shadow self, the dark side, whatever you want to call it. And this is what Thomas Merton says: every one of us is shadowed by an illusory person or false self. I wind my experiences around myself and cover myself with glory like bandages in order to make myself perceptible to myself and to the world, as if I were an invisible body that could only become visible when something visible covered its surface. So he has this beautiful image. Like, and what we do is we take all these um, sort of things that we want in an egotistical way for people to know about us, and we wrap around believing that there's actually nothing inside. That there, all I am is this accolade or this award or this achievement or this resume or this, this is just, I'm just this thing. And the reality is, folks, we're all so much more, and you're also so much more than all that. We're all so much more than those bandages and badges and everything we put on ourselves. And that's what Swedenborg's driving about here. Now, and again, we never want to take that too far. Like, is it all right to share accomplishments? Obviously, like, share them away. I love hearing about people's accomplishments, and it warms our heart, because what God is desiring is for us to take our loves, apply those in service to gifts, and that when those get applied and serve usefully, what do we experience? We experience joy, and so much of joy is this sharing. So of course, when our gifts have been able to be used for something good, we want to share what that process was like. Watch any kid after a play or a musical performance, or even New Church Live team, when we've done something well on a weekend. It feels really good, and we share that together. That celebration is important. And And likewise, it's important to remember that's not the point. That there's something deeper than all that than us, because we all will have weeks where that doesn't happen, where we drop the ball or we miss the note or we essentially screw up. And God's always going to say, like, hey, and you're more than that. Just so you know, you are more than that. There's something underneath that all that is this truly living. And heaven is about that coming out, about that deepest part coming out there into life, and sort of not needing the bandages per se. I think about it, folks. I imagine for a lot of you, I had all these trophies collected from athletic things back in the day. And there comes a time where I remember having a time where we were moving. Every time I moved, they just needed to find their own little sanctuary, um, so I could put them up. But that stopped years ago, and I'm kind of glad it did. It's we stop needing those things in the same way. And it's not that they're bad, and it's not that if you have a trophy out, I need you to go away, go put it away right now. That's not it at all. It's just always be looking for the bigger picture, and the deep knowledge that you're okay with that thing, you're okay without that thing. You are in God's image and likeness, whether you have that or whether you don't, because some days we do and some days we don't, frankly. um yeah, just live in that place. I mean, there's a lot of really good news in this when we start to unwrap and start to see ourselves and to see other people for who they truly are. And I think God can be a lot more present in those situations. So that's the thought for today, folks. I hope that makes sense. I find it a really fascinating concept. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little meditation. We're going to do a little prayer. We're going to do a little blessing as we think through. Yeah, what does it look like when we stop living through other people's eyes and just start to live from the inside out? So, with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you, and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dearest friends. So let's pull this here. All right, just going to take me a second. And yeah, I am sorry. I am still like fudging around on this new Facebook has a new layout, so it takes a little bit of time for me to get myself acclimated to the new way things are working on there. Um, all right. Boy, this is taking a long time this morning. So, in other news, folks, as I do this, just an FYI, we are starting to work on a couple of new things in terms of small groups coming up in New Church Live in the fall. So we'll be announcing those really, really soon. And I would urge you, if you haven't done a small group at New Church Live, do think about it. I mean, they really are fascinating to do, and they're just a ton of fun. People from all over the country, really good stuff. All right, handful of comments today on the one platform we're looking at today. Kim, good morning, and good morning to everyone. Totally agree with that. Sue, good morning to you, and hope you are doing well, my friend. Sherry writes, "Happy Wednesday. Make it a good one." Yeah, it will be a good Wednesday. Got some good stuff going on today. Um, Mary, I totally agree with you here. Seems like two different personalities. I really struggle with trying to meet the expectations of others. A balance of listening to others' success is easy, and listening to their struggles and failures challenging is aspiration. Lord, please guide me. And that is so true. And yeah, and it's just interesting, right? Like how so much of it, and this is what Brene Brown, I think, was driving at. She talks a lot about how we really want to move to what she called wholehearted living, which I love that idea, wholehearted, because we tend to think of it all being one way, but wholeheartedness actually, is able to take the light and the dark. As Mary said, it's able to balance listening to others' successes and listening to their struggles. It's able to really do both, which is not always easy to do. So, friends, I'm wishing you all the best. And again, feel free to leave a comment anytime of day or night on any of our social media platforms. And we do get through and try to answer those as many as we can. And yep, for those of you joining us later in the day and later in the week, wishing you the best. And those of us who joined us live this morning, wishing you a beautiful morning as well. Take care, friends. God bless. Bye-bye.